Hello, 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 everyone. This is your girl, Caron Bailey, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. Thank you guys for joining us today. Kathy and I are joining you today for another episode of Roll the Die. Unfortunately, Michelle couldn't be with us today. She had another commitment. And so it's just the two of us today. Kath, you want to take a minute and say hello?
Hello, I'm Kathy Irvin.
Sorry.
I've been a Stampin' Up demonstrator for 2 years.
Go ahead.
And I'm here in the great state of Texas, near Houston. And I've been enjoying my...
I'm not hearing what you're saying. Hold on.
You can't hear me?
Figure out what's going on here. Well, Kath, you're going to go take it away and go first. So I'm just going to let you, I'm going to turn off some cameras to include my own. I'm going to spotlight you so that you can take the show and do what you need to do, honey.
Okay, spotlight my hands, if you will.
Oh,
we are going
Kathy,
to
before you
go...
forget, you want me to spotlight the your workstation, or are you saying something?
My workstation.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. So we are going to again work with my gnomes. I've been working with my gnomes for a while now. The criteria for today was ink blending, ribbon, going to again work with my gnomes. Die cuts. It always has to be 2 layers. And of course, we're going to be using bling. I think that was it. If there's something else, Caron's going to have to tell me because I've forgotten. Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is use an adhesive mask. Those are in the annual catalog. And I will
Kath,
can you turn page number for you?
Kathy.
Once I'm done, I'll go over all of the pages. And I'm going to use my blue brush.
Kathy?
Yes.
Can you turn the sound down on one of your devices?
I only have it on one. Once I'm done. That I know of. Let's see, maybe it was trying to start it over. Yeah, started itself.
Can you turn the sound down on one of your devices?
I only have it on one. I usually only have it on my.
It's gone now, so you're good.
iPad. Okay, is that better? Okay, what I'm going to do is start with ink blending. And I'm going to start with Starry Sky. So, is that better? What I'm going to do is start with... I hear an echo, but I don't know why. I'm going to start with Starry Sky. Because I don't have the sound on my phone. I hear an echo, but I don't know why. So we're going to blend Starry Sky.
Did you join with audio on both devices?
No. Just one. Get some of the ink off of this. Now I'm going with Tahitian Tide.
Did you join with audio on both devices?
No. Just one. Get some of the ink off of this. Kind of get that blended. Okay. And then we're going to change to green. So I've got to change brushes. These are the softest brushes. I love these brushes. It took me a while to get them, but I finally did. I'm gonna go with Parakeet Party brushes. These are the softest brushes. I love these brushes. It took me a while. Some green down. I finally did. I'm gonna go with Parakeet Party brushes. I love these brushes. Get this all blended in. And I think that's going to do it for the ink blending. And we're going to remove the adhesive mat. I think that's going to do it for the ink blending. And let's see. I'm going to remove the adhesive mat. I think I'll put those there. I'm trying to decide, did I want to, I'm going to use some ribbon. And I'm trying to decide exactly where I want the ribbon. This is, I think I'll put those there. I'm trying to decide faux linen ribbon. I'm going to use in real red. I don't have any. I'm trying to decide exactly where I want the ribbon. Tahitian Tide or pink sorbet ribbon. Yeah. Faux linen ribbon. I'm going to use in real red. Oh, that's way too big. Exactly where we'll start over. Tahitian Tide is. Let's see. I started with bunny ears to try to make this bow. And I'm not the best of bow makers. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. I had it close because I can't see. So this one's a little too big. Just a little too big. Okay, and then I have my ribbon snips. These are great little snips. I mean, they cut ribbon like butter. And I only use this pair for ribbon. And I keep them in this little pouch so that I know that those are my ribbon ones because I have others. I think I'll put it here, but I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of my gnome house. And on the back of my gnome. I don't use as many dimensionals as some people. But so far I found it sufficient. So, I don't know why I'm trying to peel these off. I should be using my take your pick tool because I can get them off so much easier, especially when I don't have fingernails. And he's standing on the grass. You want your gnome to be grounded somewhere. So he's on the grass. Now, remove the backings off of the gnome house. In case you didn't know what this was, this is his little house. And it's in the background a little bit. Now, I'm also going to use Sending Smiles. One of the sentiments from Sending Smiles. Birthday wishes. This is a great set. If you don't have it, I suggest you get it because it really has a lot of really nice sentiments. Let me get my block. And I think I'm going to stamp this in Pink Sorbet. I'm sorry, Sweet Sorbet. I've been saying Pink Sorbet, but it's Sweet Sorbet. Excuse me. I've been out of the card game for a few weeks. That old COVID bug got me. And I'm on the mend, however. Now, this is also from, these are the dies for this Sending Smiles. Let me move these out of the way because I'm gonna need my mini cut and emboss machine. I'm just going to put some tape on this to keep it from sliding everywhere. And I've named my mini Emily Ann. I don't have to do that, but I think it's nice. She seems to work better with a name. So Emily Ann and I are going to cut this out. And she may be small, but she is mighty. So if you have items that you need to cut that are within her size parameters, she does a great job. Should cut that out with no problem. And I think I'm going to put this right here. Let's see if I put the bow here. That'll work. And this sentiment is going to go on some mini dimensionals. They're too small for me to try to get off of these sheets. So I usually use my Take Your Pick tool, which works really well. If you don't have one of these, you really should think about getting one. Let me put that right here if I can get it on straight. Nope, that's crooked. Which is par for the course. No, that's straighter. Okay, now I'm going to use some glue dots to put my ribbon on. Put it on the back. I think I'll put 2 glue dots, and of course I'm using my take your pick tool. Let's see. All right, so I think I have one more parameter to meet, and that's to put some bling on. This is going way faster than I had anticipated, which is fine. Now, these come with the Gnome Suite. Let me show you real quick. It's the Storybook Gnome Suite. It's on page 42 of the mini catalog. And I've used I didn't use these. I used the dies to cut out paper. These came on the paper. I cut them out. I'm going to be using the what are these called? Fine Sparkle Adhesive Back Gems. So that's what I'm using from there. And these, I don't know what color these are, but they're really cute. We'll just sprinkle some of these around, preferably 3 of them, or an odd number. And put that one there. Now this is supposed to be the sun or the moon, whichever. I guess the sun is not really too dark. And we'll use some of the liquid glue Stampin' Up! Has to put it on this pink sorbet. Cardstock. Oh, got a glue book. Get that off of there. Get off of there. My bows, like I told you, I'm not the best at bow making, and it's kind of sorry. But the rest of my card looks pretty good. So that was my card. And I think I'm done. So let me show you the other items that I used. We use Sending Smiles, which comes in a bundle. It's on page 14 of the annual catalog. We have all of these, and there's all of these. This is the die that I used for the sentiment. And I used the adhesive sheets, not adhesive sheets, I'm sorry. Picked up the wrong thing. I mean, it's the mask. I thought I had it. Masking paper on page 149. And that's how I masked off the sun with this. And I don't know if that ribbon is actually available because I didn't think to check on it. Let's see, where are the ribbons? Okay, I have a feeling it's not. No, it's no longer available. Now, what I should have done, I've been thinking, is use this white glitter organdy. It is beautiful. It is really beautiful. But that's my card. I hope you like it. And get your gnomes for Christmas. They really have Christmas, a lot of Christmas things. So, Caron, I'm done. Don't know if she can hear me, but I'm done. Quite fast. Caron, if you want to purchase anything, you can go to KathyIrvin.stampinup.net.
You did a great job, Kath. You got about still 7 minutes. So if there's anything still that you want to say, definitely take the time and get that done.
My host code, the July host code, is still active. ZP4ESGDR. And I'm done. That's it, Caron. Thank you. Take it away. Go ahead. Don't know if she can hear me. Caron, oh, there she is.
Awesome. Let me make sure the volumes are down. All right, can everybody hear me? I'm gonna apologize today for any technical challenges that we are experiencing, but hey, we will try to refine and get better. I'm Caron, and again, this is the card that I'm gonna work with you guys on today that met the requirements of our challenge. I'm going to incorporate so many different techniques in this one project. Just stick with me and I'll talk you through them. I'm going to stick with the same stamp set, but I'm going to change my colors, okay? So this is our guide that we are working from. I'm going to put this right out of the way. And I am working with the Nature's Harvest Suite bundle. And you can find this on page 68, I believe. Yep, page 68 of the annual catalog, and you save 10% if you buy the bundle, and it's $53 for the bundle. In the sample one that I did, I went with the greens, but you know blue is my favorite color, so I changed everything up, and I'm working in the blue palette today. And the blue that I'm going to work with is retired. It is Blueberry Bushel, but it was one of my very favorite blues that Stampin' Up! Carried, and that's why I still use it. So anyway, we're gonna get started. And the first thing you're gonna do is whatever shape you want to be, you're gonna die cut that. I went with a square in the sample, but I'm gonna go with oval in the next one. And so this is what I have. I have a mask that's in the oval shape. And I'm gonna just go ahead and use my little embossing tool or powder tool here. Try to get all of that off. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line this up like so. And then I'm gonna stamp my image where I want my image to be. And I'm gonna stamp it in with Versamark, and it's going to be clear. I can't put my hands on my Versamark now. Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm just gonna stamp some Versamark on here or ink this up with Versamark. Right. I'm gonna stamp this where I want this to be. And I think I'm just gonna go here like so. And I'm gonna press a little bit harder. Grab my little Chucky tool here. Because I want to make sure that where that seam is in the mask, that I put a little extra pressure. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And now I don't think I'm going to do a second one like I've done with the other one. So that's all I'm going to do on this project. So I'm going to come in now with my white embossing powder. And I'm going to do a little heat embossing. Okay, gonna remove the little mask, set that aside. Come in with my little coffee filter here. I find that it's easier when I'm working on for me, a limited space, that I just grab a little coffee filter, and that's what I use to catch my excess powder. Okay. Okay, I can see that I have very good coverage. You probably can't see that, but I can see that I have everything covered. Okay, so I'm going to put this back. And it's going to get a little loud here for just a quick second while I heat set this. Okay, so give me 1 minute while I start my heat tool. Let it warm up for just a little bit. And then I'm going to melt the powder. And you'll be able to see, you might not be able to see it on camera, but you should be able to see when this powder is melted. Can you see it changing? Because I can see it changing. You got to make sure all of it gets melted in. Perfect. All right, so now that this is heat set and it's ready to go, we're gonna put and I just checked it to make sure that I didn't have any flecks going on there, okay? Now the thing about having and cutting your mask to the same side as your card base is when you go back to put the mask back on, it's already gonna be in place because it's the exact same size, okay? I'm looking for a little piece of scrap paper. Let me go back in with my little scratch here. And like I said, I'm working with the blues. And the colors I'm going to use are Balmy Blue, Tahitian Tide, and Blueberry Bushel. Okay, starting with our lightest, of course. I'm going to go in. And more of with a light touch. Just add that ink all over your surface. Okay. I love ink blending, and the other technique that you'll see that I'm doing is called emboss resist, and that's where when I'm done with this entire panel, you'll see that white embossing layer, with the dandelions that we stamped, you'll see how that'll just pop because it's going to resist the color. Okay, so we got a good layer down here. Then we're going to go in with our next lightest color. And that is going to be for us, I think, the Tahitian Tide. That'll make sense. All right. And again, just going to continue to lay down that color. Now, the reason why you work from your lightest color to your darkest is so that you try to avoid any sort of ink transfer and to contaminate your ink pad, okay? Then you just gotta decide how you want your image to look in terms of where your coloring is gonna go. Because now I'm working in 3 colors, and I want to be able to, by the end of the design process, to be able to see all 3 of my colors. Oops. Perfect. Now I'm going to add the last color, and the last color, like I said, is going to be our balmy blue. Blueberry bushel, I apologize, blueberry bushel. And that's our darkest color, so we're gonna go in with that. And then we're gonna use that one very sparingly because we don't want it to overpower the rest of the project. I'm really gonna pick and choose kind of where I want this to be. So I'm gonna put a little bit down here and a little bit up here in this corner. Right, and there we go. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go right back over top with the lightest color, which is our balmy blue. And let me clean that off because that was the darkest. So I do want to clean that off just a little bit so I don't contaminate the lightest pad. And we're going to add a little bit of the balmy blue in here, and we're going to go right back over and we're going to blend all of our colors one more time. And then smooth out those edges. Okay. Once you've got it colored to your liking, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put this away. Going to remove our mask. Well, we can leave that in there for now. And then take a rag or a piece of paper towel or whatever you have, and you're just going to go right back over. You're going to go over it so that you can have that white embossing shine through just a little bit more. Do you see how just removing some of that, it's resisting the color and the white is starting to pop through a little bit more, okay? Now I'm going to do a little bit, just one more bit of masking. I'm going to go in with one of the stencils from the Butterfly and Flowers set. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to add just a little bit more texture over this guy. So leaving the mask in place, right? I'm going to lay this over top. Make sure it's straight. And all I'm going to do is going with my mist, and this has water, because remember this is water-based ink, right? So it's also going to resist. And so what I'm going to do is just spritz some water lightly over. Let it sit for a little bit, right? And when we remove this mask, we should see an additional level of masking, of texture on this project. Okay, can you see it? Perfect. So now I'm just, for the interest of time, I'm going to heat set it just to make sure that it's not wet as we continue to move on this project. Okay. So this side is done, okay? And that panel is ready. Perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do is I went ahead and I did some steps a little bit. So we got the ink blending, which we did. Now we're going to go into the next element, which is our die cutting, okay? Now, what I have done is, and this is something that I don't know where I saw it. I want to build a little bit of height, but not use so many dimensionals. And so I cut about 4 4 of the die image in just plain white. And so far I've done 3 of them together. This will be the 4th. And so what I'm gonna do, and then I also stamped and heat embossed ahead of time the image also in silver. So now I'm gonna take my little mini cut and emboss machine, and I'm gonna die cut this image out. I don't have a name for my baby like Kathy does, okay? Maybe I should give her a name. I don't know, but I don't have a name for her. And we'll see. I don't know. I'll think on it and see if I come up with a nice name for her. Kathy, do you have a name for her? All right.
Maybe
so
Betty
I'm just gonna
Sue.
layer this guy on here, the die, and make sure I die cut this out. And again, I'm working in a small space, so that's why everything seems a little cramped, but that's okay. We will make things happen, because that's what we do as crafters. We make things happen. Okay. I'm trying not to put my head in the camera, so hopefully I've got it where it'll die cut exactly the way it needs to die cut. Okay, here we go. Okay. Put this aside. And we have a piece of die cut vellum, okay? And I didn't mention it before, but I got the vellum from, I believe this is part of the Nature's Harvest. It's the Lovely Layers vellum that came. It's also in the new catalog, and there's loads of blank sheet pieces of vellum in the catalog or in that pack. All right, so now we have that die cut. I told you guys I'm doing a whole lot of techniques here for y'all today. And the next technique I'm going to do is I'm going to color on vellum. Okay, what am I coloring, you ask? Well, we have some leaves in here that are green. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green. And because it's on the vellum, you guys, you should use the darker colors, because then it'll pop through a little bit more. So I'm gonna just color my leaves, and you color on the back of, so this is my front piece of that I just die cut out. You color on the back, so then it doesn't really, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, because it always matters to be neat, but try to be as neat as possible when you're coloring. But it's gonna stay right on the back and give you such a little bit of coloring through the front for your leaves. So you see we have a little bit of green right here. I don't know if you can see that. You see we got a little bit of green. Awesome. So I'm going to put a little bit more. If you want it to be darker, then you have to go over it a little bit more times, a couple more times, just to make sure that the color comes through. And we're going to leave it at that at this point, okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to mat it on one of the pieces of that I already die cut in the white. And for this one, because of how I'm doing it, it doesn't really matter. Well, actually, it's not because of how I'm doing it. It's because of the image itself, how dense the image is. There's going to be very little areas for the glue to show up on the vellum because of the actual image itself. So I'm just going to make sure that I have enough. And then all I'm going to do is line this up and get this mounted like so, like so. Uh-oh, come on. Let's go. There we go, much better, much better. And then we have this piece that is matted. Then we're gonna add the whole piece, and we have a little bit of depth that we've created, okay? Do the same thing. Whoops. And there we go. Then we're going to add the artwork piece to the die cut piece. And now we've added height and texture to this piece that's ready to go. Okay. And so what we've done that. And so the last one of the other things that we're going to do now is, this is the side where we want our element to be. So we have that one there. I want to be able to see the two of them. So this is about where I'm going to put that. Okay. And so now that I know where I'm going to do that, I need to decide and get my sentiment. Because you always got to know where you're going to put your sentiment. Okay. And so I think I'm going to go in from the Simply Fabulous stamp set. And I'm just going to stamp, "You are simply fabulous." Okay. And we're going to do that. I'm not going to heat emboss the sentiment, but I am going to stamp it in Blueberry Bushel. And I'm going to make sure that I prime my stamp a little bit because it's the first time it's being used. So I'm going to put this here. So I know this needs to go here, right? I want to make sure before I do that this is primed. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add the Blueberry Bushel right onto the panel. Like so. Okay. And now all we're going to do again is make sure this is like so and this is like so. So now we're going to add our adhesive, which again for me is liquid glue. That's my preference of adhesive, is liquid glue. Of course, I absolutely love dimensionals as well. Ha ha ha. As Kathy was referring to me. I know she was. Ha ha. I know she was. And so we're just going to add this to our card front like so, where we want it. Give that a little press. All right, so we've got the die cut, we've got the ink blending, and now I need a little bit of ribbon. Okay, what am I going to do for ribbon? All right, I'll tell you. I'm going to use, let's see how thin. I'm going to use the turquoise, the Tahitian Tide metallic woven ribbon. This is in the new catalog as well. It's one of our in colors. And I'm just, this is a little too big. That might be a little too big as well for that, but we'll go with it anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do another method of adding a bow to a project. Okay, so if you're challenged with doing bows like I am, I'm just going to use a punch, and the punch that you use is based on the size of your ribbon. So this might be a little too big, but hey, we'll work with it. And you're going to punch 2 holes fairly close together. Okay. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut quite a bit of this ribbon. Better to cut more than to not have enough. And this is how I'm going to make a ribbon for you. So you feed one side. Oh, I need to make this a little bit neater because it's never gonna go through that way. There we go. Feed it through this way. Feed it through the other way, like so. Until you have something that looks like this, okay? And then you're gonna pass the ribbons to the back. Feed it through, almost like sewing, isn't it, Kath? And feed the other one
Yes,
through.
it is.
Now I didn't have a smaller punch, so this would have worked better with a smaller punch, but hey, we're gonna make it work. Okay, and so what we're gonna do next, actually we can pass this a couple more times to fill up some space, okay? And then I'll show you how we're gonna get the bow part. Come on in there.
That's really a
And
good
all I'm doing
idea.
with this is covering that width of white space there, so you don't see that much white space at the end of the making the bow. Okay. Where are my tweezers when I need them? Okay. So we're going to pass it through the back one more time. Okay.
I'm gonna have to take that idea.
Like so. And now we're going to get ready to make our loop. How are you going to make the loop? I know you're asking that question, right? So all you're going to do now that you have this on the front side is you're going to make that loop on the same side and pass it through the back. Oops. Like so. And the size of your loop is dependent upon whatever you want. So you got a loop. Then do the other side. Until you have your loops, whatever size you want your loops to be. And there's my little faux bow for this project. Uh-oh, what did I do? Something got loose in here. That shouldn't have been loose. Okay. Okay, no problem. We'll fix that. So what I'm gonna do now to make sure that doesn't loosen up on me is I'm gonna take a little bit of a double-sided like score tape. All right. And secure that piece so that when I'm doing my loop, it just doesn't keep moving and loosening the front. There we go. Perfect. Now we're gonna do what we said we were gonna do. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh, there we go. I'm glad I had extra time, Kath. Thank you. I'm glad I had extra time, Kath. Thank you, Kath. And now we're gonna put this back like so. Man, this splits very quickly. This metallic ribbon. Maybe not a best choice, but hey, it is what it is and it is gonna work. And because you've used that double-sided tape in the back, once you have the size of your bow decided, you can go ahead and tack that down in the back. But I'm gonna wait until I'm done with the other side before I do any tacking. Okay. All right, so now that we have the base of the loop, I'm going to go ahead in the back and take off the other side of the double-sided adhesive. And then I'm going to tack those ends loose, those loose ends in. Okay. That's a good size loop, so I'm going to go ahead and tack that one in and trim off the excess. And then I'm going to make sure this loop is the good size, and then I'm going to tack that one in. Like so. Perfect. Then tack that in, and then trim off my excess. Boom. And here's my faux bow. And I used ribbon. So I have all the elements now. I'm going to get ready to put my card base together, my card together. And this card will be done. Except for my bling, because you know I got to do my bling. And for me, what I'm going to do is go in with the adhesive foam sheets. It's one of the inventions or the newest additions to the catalog that I just absolutely adore. Trim off my excess. And again, you don't have to be perfect. I'm going to add this guy to the bag. Okay. And take off the other side of the sheet. And I'm going to add right here like so. Oops. And last but not least is my bling. I'm going in with the red and green adhesive back pearls for this one. And using the putty end of your take your pick tool, you're going to just easily pick one up. One. Using the rule of threes. 2. And I'm going to put 3 right there. So what do you think? This is the sample, and this is the final that we did in this project, this class today.
Very nice. I like that a lot.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right. Definitely let us know if you have any questions. Let me take off the spotlight there. I think everybody's on now, right? So Kath, what did you think?
I think yours looks so great. I am going to take that very nice ribbon idea. I like that a lot.
I'm excited. See?
Yeah.
Now I get all this feedback. I'm sorry. Definitely let us know if you have any questions. Let me take off the spotlight there. Hold on, Kath. We're gonna have to figure this out so that we didn't have it the last time.
No, we didn't.
Sure.
I think yours looks so great. I am going to take that ribbon idea.
Yeah. Now I get all this feedback. I'm sorry. Definitely let us know if you have any questions. I'm so distracted by the feedback. It's not even funny. What I'm gonna end up doing, Kath, is we're gonna spin the wheel for next month, roll of the die off camera, because this feedback is driving me nuts. And then we'll just post what it is, because this is
Okay.
You have a good night, Kath, and we'll see you in just a little bit. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next month for a roll of the die.
Thank you. Bye.